History is filled with stories of triumph, tragedy, and change. But hidden beneath the surface are stories so bizarre, they seem written by fate itself. Today, we're diving into 7 real-life coincidences, moments when the universe seemed to wink at us, and reality felt stranger than fiction. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll question whether anything is ever truly random. Imagine standing at the epicenter of the world's first atomic bomb and surviving. Now imagine traveling home, battered and traumatized, only to endure it all again. That was the fate of Tsutomu Yamaguchi. On August 6, 1945, Yamaguchi was finalizing a business trip in Hiroshima when the first atomic bomb detonated. Thrown through the air by the blast, suffering severe burns, bleeding, and temporary blindness, somehow he survived. Desperate to get home, he traveled to Nagasaki, and just 3 days later, while describing the horror to his supervisor, the second atomic bomb dropped. Miraculously, Yamaguchi survived again. He lived a long life, eventually dying at the age of 93, forever a living symbol of resilience in the face of unimaginable devastation. Detroit, 1930s. A mother opens a window, just enough to let some air into her cramped apartment, and somehow her baby tumbles out. Down below, a man named Joseph Figlock just happened to be sweeping the alleyway. In a surreal moment, the falling baby lands directly into Figlock's arms, both surviving with only minor injuries. A miracle? Maybe. But then it happened again. The very same baby, the very same window. And once again, Joseph Figlock, just happening to pass by, caught the child. What are the odds? Some say once in a million, others argue even higher. But to that mother, Joseph Figlock was proof that not all heroes wear capes. Twins often share uncanny similarities. But what happens when twins, separated at birth, unknowingly live identical lives? In Ohio, 2 twin boys were adopted into separate families. No contact, no knowledge of each other, yet both were named Jim by their adoptive parents. Both grew up loving mechanical drawing and woodworking. Both married women named Linda. Both divorced, and later remarried women named Betty. Both had sons they named James Allan, and both even owned dogs, named Toy. It doesn't stop there. Both pursued careers in law enforcement, drove similar cars, and even vacationed at the same beaches. When they finally met decades later, the eerie symmetry of their lives left researchers speechless. Was it genetics, or something far stranger? A pattern written deep into their destiny? If anyone lived under a cursed star, it was Violet Jessop, and yet somehow she always emerged stronger. Violet worked as a stewardess on the RMS Olympic, the Titanic's sister ship. The Olympic collided with another vessel, damaging its hull, but Violet survived unharmed. Then came the RMS Titanic. The Unsinkable ship hit an iceberg in 1912. Violet helped passengers into lifeboats before jumping aboard one herself, clutching a baby placed into her arms by a desperate passenger. But the seas had one more challenge. During World War I, Violet served on the HMHS Britannic, another sister ship. A naval mine explosion sank the ship, and once again, Violet survived. 3 ships, 3 disasters, one woman who simply refused to sink. In July 1900, King Umberto I of Italy visited a small restaurant in Monza. The owner approached, and the two men froze. They looked identical, and the similarities didn't stop at appearances. Same birthday, same birthplace. Both married women named Margarita. Both celebrated career milestones on the same day. It was as if destiny had cloned them, two parallel lives meeting by chance. But fate's hand was not finished. The next day, the restaurant owner was killed in a shooting accident. Later that evening, King Umberto himself was assassinated at a public event. Two lives, ending together, in the ultimate cosmic mirror. In 1838, Edgar Allan Poe published the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym. In it, shipwreck survivors stranded at sea draw lots, and ultimately sacrifice a cabin boy named Richard Parker. Decades later, a real shipwreck, the Mignonette, stranded 4 sailors at sea. Facing starvation, they drew lots. The cabin boy who lost was named Richard Parker. In a horrifying twist of life imitating fiction, fact mirrored Poe's imagination so precisely that some even speculated supernatural foresight, coincidence, or something chilling beyond explanation. In 1912, the Titanic, deemed unsinkable, met its tragic fate. But what if someone had foreseen it all? 14 years earlier, in 1898, author Morgan Robertson penned a novella titled Futility or the Wreck of the Titan. In it, he described an enormous, luxurious ship named Titan that sank after hitting an iceberg in the North Atlantic. The eerie parallels don't end there. Both ships were around 800 feet long, carried too few lifeboats, and their disasters occurred in April. Robertson's novella seemed to predict the Titanic disaster with such uncanny detail that it defies mere coincidence. Was it a stroke of eerie foresight, or a perplexing twist of fate that leaves us questioning the boundaries between reality and fiction? The Hoover Dam is one of America's greatest feats of engineering, but its construction began and ended in tragedy. In 1922, the first man to die during preliminary surveys was J.G. Tierney. Exactly 14 years later, on the same date, December 20th, the last death recorded during the dam's construction was his son. One project, 2 generations, and a tragic symmetry that history has quietly buried. Fate, chance, destiny. Sometimes the line between coincidence and mystery blurs in ways we can't explain. Which of these stories left you speechless? Drop your favorite in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more unbelievable true stories, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and remember, history always has another unbelievable story waiting to be uncovered.